carried out in 4 geopolitical zones of the country, namely South-South, Southwest, North-Central and Northwest. The decision to embark on the exercise was further necessitated since efforts by the Nigeria Customs Service to get Customs Administration of Nigeria's neighboring countries to obey ECOWAS protocol on transits failed despite series of engagements.
Well, the transit goods that are meant for Nigeria on Transaya will be offloaded, transloaded into a vehicle, and then transported. And therefore, you find one truck carrying 5 container loads, which is wrong. And in the process of transloading, anything can be included, which is not part of the manifest. Because the manifest that should come with the goods, we should have an advanced manifest that comes with the goods. But we don't receive that.
7 months down the lane, the exercise has recorded successes. In the aspect of security, the country is witnessing a sharp drop in the influx of arms and ammunition used by terrorists and criminal elements. The same goes for illicit drugs, which affect the health and well-being of Nigerians. 697 illegal migrants have been arrested.
Before this operation, due to the nature of the contiguous borders we have, people enter and leave Nigeria through any port. And I'm glad to say that this operation has enhanced this entry and exit of persons. Similarly, the law is very clear. Do not enter except you have a travel document. For ECOWAS, the travel document is not necessarily a passport. It can be ECOWAS travel certificate or a card, which means that any person, whether a Nigerian or a non-Nigerian, cannot enter or leave Nigeria without a travel document. This operation has enhanced that. So we are very glad to state that this operation approved by Mr. President is enhancing the implementation of ECOWAS protocol.
Items worth 7,350,818,657 naira 70 kobo have been seized. These items include 86,602 bags of 50 kg parboiled rice, 1,172 vehicles, 2,997 drums filled with petroleum motor spirit, and 16,771 jerrycans of vegetable oil. Others are 656 motorcycles and 695 bags of NPK fertilizer. Economically, curbing the smuggling of foreign rice has paved way for rapid improvement in production of Nigerian-grown rice and horizontal rice in establishment of rice milling factories, thus providing employment for numerous Nigerians through the rice value chain.
Previously, we used to have a lot of stock of finished rice. Nobody coming to us. That has been very discouraging. At some point, some of us were even closing production. Some of us are shutting down their mills, even reducing their workforce. But now, I can bet you, if you visit any rice mill within Nigeria, they are either expanding or planning expansion, which means that the call has been answered, the impact has been felt.
The closure of the border actually strengthened our hope and gave us some sort of cushion to fall back on. And most of us now have been increasing the capacities, doubling it, some going into tripling, some that are doing 500 tons are doing 1,500 now. Some that are doing 200 are going for 400, 500 tons. So we really much appreciate the government.
Also, Nigeria Customs Services revenue collection has increased from 4 to 5 billion naira daily before the border closure to 5 to 6 billion naira daily now that the partial border closure is on. The drill has also curbed the diversion of petroleum products from Nigeria to other neighboring countries, with NNPC's record showing 30% drop in fuel consumption, which now reveals that the country had been subsidizing fuel for its neighboring countries to the benefit of unpatriotic elements. Exercise Swift Response has also provided a unique platform for various participating agencies to operate together, thereby strengthening inter-agency collaboration. While Nigeria continues to engage our neighbors with a view to getting them to comply with ECOWAS protocol, Exercise Swift Response has continued to record successes until more permanent solutions to the challenges are adopted. The Nigeria Customs Service, as an organization which implements government's fiscal policies, shoulders responsibilities that include suppression of smuggling, revenue generation, facilitation of trade, and enhancing security of the nation, as well as enhancing welfare of the citizenry. To do these and many other tasks, the service requires an equally healthy and motivated personnel. The Customs Duty crew digs to find out how the service enhances the welfare of its workforce, will focus on how officers and men benefit from the National Health Insurance Scheme.
Officers that have been enrolled into the scheme have been benefiting from the services of the facilities chosen by them for themselves and then for their dependents. That is the joy of it. Even at work, you are at liberty to choose a hospital that you can attend, and then the family at home there, you are also at liberty to choose a facility for your family that they can attend whenever they are sick.
On what the service is doing for personnel to maximize these benefits, Comptroller Mohammed Abdul Qadir says.
We will commence a mop-up exercise during which we will try to enroll most officers that have not been enrolled, and then we'll also try to address other issues regarding change of facility, regarding adding of extra dependents, and any other issue regarding access to care under the scheme. Such will be done in the course of the mop-up exercise. And then we have also recently sent out circular seeking for nomination of desk officers from all the commands of the service nationwide. The essence is to institutionalize the National Health Insurance Scheme in all the commands of the service nationwide, so that issues emanating or issues regarding access to care as it matters national health insurance can easily be addressed at the commands level or the zonal level.
He clarifies on what may be considered limitations of the scheme.
There are limitations, but not in total, really. And then there are also benefit packages of this. Most important is for one to register himself, make himself an enrollee under the scheme. Now, in assessing whatsoever issue, assessing care under the scheme, there wouldn't be any limitations as to whether you have an accident or you have a snake bite. These are all areas that have been covered under the scheme. There are, however, some areas that are really not covered under the scheme, but they are still being addressed by the healthcare insurance to see that all areas regarding sicknesses are covered under the scheme.
Beyond the National Health Insurance Scheme, Comptroller Abdul Qadir explains efforts of the service at providing healthcare services to its officers and men.
The service has tried in providing immediate attention to health issues of individuals. We have presently about 21 healthcare facilities across the nation in the various commands, apart from the referral hospital in Karu here. And then recently there was a team of medical personnel that went around all the facilities with a view of giving on-the-spot assessment of such facilities so that they will provide a report for immediate upgrading of some of these facilities or positioning the facilities to be more functional for effective healthcare delivery to our officers.
Indeed, a healthy and well-motivated workforce for the Nigeria Customs Service will translate to better service to the nation, with the citizenry being the ultimate beneficiaries.
We will overcome coronavirus COVID-19. We will overcome coronavirus COVID-19. Be safe, let's make Nigeria safe. Be safe, let's make Nigeria safe. Oh, as we practice social distancing, wash your hands often with soap. Sanitize your hands, avoid touching your face. Avoid crowded places, so ṣe mẹ́lọ́mẹ́lọ́ mo ṣàyè mi jẹ́jẹ́ ọmọ mo ṣàyè lọ no be say no be say.
We will use this containment period to identify, trace, and isolate all individuals that have come into contact with confirmed cases. We will ensure the treatment of confirmed cases while restricting further spread to other states. Movements of all passenger aircraft, both commercial and private jets, are hereby suspended. Sufficient permits will be issued on a needs basis. However, we must all see this as our national and patriotic duty to control and contain the spread of this virus. I will therefore ask all of us affected by this order to put aside our personal comfort to safeguard ourselves and fellow human beings. This common enemy can only be controlled if we all come together and obey scientific and medical advice.
The main way coronavirus spread is when infected people sneeze and cough. Small droplets of fluid expelled by cough or sneezes are laced with viruses looking for new respiratory tracts to infect. When a sick person sneezes around someone who is healthy, the virus can land in the nose, mouth, or even the eyes, causing an infection. Symptoms can include fever, cough, shortness of breath. Symptoms may appear within 2 to 14 days. Seek medical advice if you develop symptoms and have been in close contact with a person known to have COVID-19, or if you live or have recently been in an area with ongoing spread of COVID-19. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest.
It has become necessary to extend the current restriction of movement in Lagos and Ogun states, as well as the FCT, for another 14 days.
Make sacrifices to save lives. President urges Nigerians as lockdown is extended by 2 weeks.
We have pre-positioned laboratory testing sample and collection kits nationwide.
Nigeria now has 11 molecular laboratories with capacity to test 1,500 suspected COVID-19 samples daily. More support comes the way of the federal government to fight coronavirus pandemic. Plus, OPEC and other top oil producing countries' decision to cut down on oil supply gives hope to Nigeria's economy. Network News reaching you live on the network service of the NTA. I am Muhammad Kudu Abubakar. Reading with me tonight is Dr. Ogunyemi in Lagos, while Jenny Basi is in Port Harcourt. Felicia Daliop Samaila will join us later from Jos. President Muhammadu Buhari has announced additional 14 days extension of the current restriction order in Lagos on Ogun states, as well as the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. This is part of measures to fully tackle the spread of the coronavirus pandemic. President Buhari, in a nationwide broadcast, says the adjustment becomes necessary following professional advice and briefing from the Presidential Task Force on the global pandemic. Awaka Akwanga now reports.
Muhammadu Muhammadu Buhari explains that the difficult decision was informed by the growing concern of global statistics on COVID-19 and the increasing figure in the country, which desperately requires tougher preventive measures and sacrifice from all Nigerians.
Our approach to the virus remains in 2 steps. First, to protect the lives of our fellow Nigerians and residents living here, and second, to preserve the livelihoods of workers and business owners. With this in mind, and having carefully considered the briefings and report from the Presidential Task Force and the various options offered, it has become necessary to extend the current restriction of movement in Lagos and Ogun states, as well as the FCT, for another 14 days, effective from 11:59 p.m. on Monday, 13th of April 2020.
The president says available data of the virus from the Nigerian Center for Disease Control in Lagos, Ogun, and the FCT represents 71% of recorded cases out of the 23 affected states. The current figure of confirmed cases in the country as at Monday 13th April, it says, were 223 with 10 fatalities recorded. The Nigerian leader commends the 36 state governors for initiating proactive measures through various restrictions order imposed to contain the spread of the deadly virus and promised to strengthen commitment in high-risk states.
Many state governments have also made provisions for isolation wards and treatment centers. We will also build similar centers near our airports and land borders. Using our resources and those provided through donations, we will adequately equip and man these centers in the coming weeks. Already, healthcare workers across all the treatment centers have been provided with the personal protective equipment that they need to safely carry out the care they provide.
The president says adequate measures have been put in place to sustain the fight against COVID-19. These, he says, include the implementation of comprehensive public health measures that include intensified identification, testing, isolation, and contact tracing capabilities.
The level of compliance to the COVID-19 guidelines issued has been generally good across the country. I wish to thank you all most sincerely for the great sacrifice you are making for each other at this critical time. I will take this opportunity to recognize the massive support from our traditional rulers, the Christian Association of Nigeria, and the Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs during this pandemic. I also acknowledge the support and contributions received from public spirited individuals, the business community, and our international partners and friends. I must also thank the media houses, celebrities, and other public figures for the great work they are doing in sensitizing our citizens on hygienic practices, social distancing, and issues associated with social gatherings.
On the impact of the initial 2 weeks lockdown, the president says it has led to 92% of identified cases and commended the timely intervention of donors and other development partners in assisting federal government to mitigate negative impact of the virus and promised to sustain palliative measures to cushion the effect. Other measures include 7,000 trained health workers and their swift deployment to 19 states, doubles the number of testing laboratories in the country, and raised testing capacities to 1,500 tests per day, with Lagos and Abuja now equipped to admit 1,000 patients across treatment centers.
Related measures such as food distribution, cash transfers, and loans repayment waivers to ease the pains of our restrictive policies during this difficult time. These palliatives will be sustained. I have also directed that the current social register be expanded from 2.6 million households to 3.6 million households in the next 2 weeks. This means we will support an additional 1 million homes with our social investment programs. A technical committee is working on this and will submit a report to me by the end of this week. The security agency.
The president says the major space for the spread of COVID-19 is in communities and urged them to closely observe the infection prevention protection measures to curtail the spread of the virus, and appreciates effort of the traditional rulers, Christian Association of Nigeria, and the Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs and the media for sustained effort in succeeding the fight against COVID-19. President Muhammadu Buhari lauds the commitment of security agents in rising up to the challenges and encouraged them to remain steadfast and maintain vigilance in enforcing the lockdown directive within the ambit of statutory security responsibilities. The president says an emergency economic response team has been drafted to ensure a workable system that will serve the country's interests during the challenging period.
To ensure our economy adapts to this new reality, I am directing the Ministers of Industry, Trade and Investment, Communication and Digital Economy, Science and Technology, Transportation, Aviation, Interior, Health, Works and Housing, Labor and Employment, and Education to jointly develop a comprehensive policy for a Nigerian economy functioning with COVID-19. The ministers will be supported by the Presidential Economic Advisory Council and the Economic Sustainability Committee in executing this mandate. I am also directing the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, the National Security Advisor, the Vice Chairman, National Food Security Council, and the Chairman, Presidential Fertilizer Initiative, to work with the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 to ensure the impact of this pandemic on our 2020 farming season is minimized.
The president says he has no doubt that by working together and carefully following the rules, Nigeria will get over the global pandemic and emerge stronger in the end. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
Joining me in the studio is Ahmed Sajo, a public affairs analyst, to talk more on the presidential broadcast, extending to the lockdown for 2 weeks. Marlon Sajo, thank you so much for coming to the studio to share your views with us. What will you say is your assessment of the overall presidential broadcast?
But there are two strands to the broadcast. The first strand is like an evaluation of what really the situation is, and that one begins with an empathy. You know, you could listen that throughout the broadcast there was an empathy on the part of the president. These things are difficult. These things are hard. Nigerians are not finding it easy. We understand we were elected by these same Nigerians. We are not elected to inflict hardships on them, but these are necessary sacrifices they are making to save lives. There is that empathy all through. The second thing that is there also in the first strand is that there is this firm commitment to the capacity of the institutions and the mechanisms put in place to contain the process. The president left no one in doubt as to the fact that his government is taking the right steps and that the facilities required are there. Another thing in this first strand is that the president appreciated the roles of so many other people, particularly the frontline health workers that are risking their own lives to make sure that other people are saved. And he also mentioned several various other bodies, including the media. This is very novel because most times the media carries the bulk of the enlightenment and mobilizing people, but nobody says the media is doing well. But this time around, the president says the media and celebrities, the Christian Association and the rest, they did well. The fourth one within this first strand of evaluation of what is happening is when the president spoke about the synergy, that the governors, the private sector, everybody is working together. And I think that is the part. Then the second strand in the speech is where the president mentioned concerns that are genuine. First, there are concerns that businesses will suffer and that the economy will never be the same again. These concerns are there, and the president said these are the steps we are taking.
Yeah, well, then
the
what do you
second
make?
concern
Okay.
is that food security. He says there are concerns there. But one of the most interesting things that the president, if you read the speech very well, paragraph 49 and paragraph 50 are very unique. 49, he's putting operational guidelines to the security agents as commander-in-chief directly. They should be vigilant, they should be firm, but they should also work with restraint. So no security personnel should overreach himself in treating civilian populations. That is
then what do you make
the
of
second one,
Yeah.
paragraph 50, where he spoke about rights, that your right ends, your freedom ends where another person's right, and he says the irresponsibility of a few should not cost us the lives of many.
What's your comment on the president's directives, specific directives to ministries, to departments with specific goals?
I think, the whole thing is within the ambit of the concerns. Let the economy not collapse to the level that we will experience not just a depression, but actually, hopelessness at the end of this crisis. This is the essence of it, that we must keep hope alive. This is what the president is saying all these ministers must do. And then the second one is the agric. For those of us that come from the Northeast, I keep telling people that we had faced a situation where crisis had stopped us from going to our farms, and that had impacted very negatively on food security.
Specifically, the Federal Ministry of Health is the frontline ministry.
Yeah.
Do you think it is doing well, or what do you think they should do more?
No. Let's put it this way. You see, the concerns all over the world with the health sector is that the health sector should be galvanized in a manner that it will be able to cater for the poor, because
is that happening in the case of Nigeria?
For now, yes, we are on the path of doing that. The health workers that are now at the front line of this struggle are doing their very best, and I'm happy that the president commended them and appreciated what they're doing. But we need to do much more.
We may have to leave it there.
Yes.
Certainly, you will have opportunities to talk more on this presidential broadcast, maybe in our other segments. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much. May God see us through this crisis.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you.
As at Sunday, 12th of April, Nigeria recorded 5 new cases of COVID-19, bringing the total number of confirmed cases to 323. Out of the 5 cases, 2 were in Lagos, 2 in Kwara, and 1 was in Katsina State. Out of the confirmed cases, 85 patients have been discharged, and the number of deaths remains 10. China reports highest infection cases in weeks from coronavirus as Italy records low death rate from the virus. Adebola Brookston Sunday is here with the global update on COVID-19.
It's nice that you're joining me. The global case count of coronavirus is now approaching 2 million. Data from Worldometer at about 7 p.m. local time shows that 1,858,697 people have been infected by the disease, while 114,698 deaths recorded as 429,019 have recovered. The number of infected cases in the United States of America at about 7 p.m. local time is now 561,875, while 22,161 have died and 33,269 have recovered and discharged. In Africa, Morocco is topping the charts with death rates after recording 120 fatalities from 1,746 infected cases, while 196 have recovered. Now to the origin of the virus. The National Health Commission of China says a total of 108 new infections have been recorded in the country. Most of the cases, observers say, are imported. The country currently has 82,160 confirmed cases, 3,341 deaths, and 77,663 recoveries. In the UK, Prime Minister Boris Johnson has passed a test for coronavirus. A government spokesman says the Prime Minister tested negative for COVID-19. I am Adebola Brookslyn Sunday. Thanks for your time.
Still on COVID-19, there are now 11 laboratories nationwide to test for COVID-19, with testing capacity increased to 1,500 tests per day. More than 6,000 tests have been conducted so far. Chairman, Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 and Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, announced this at the daily briefing in Abuja. Mitari Ikben has details.
Taking stock of Nigeria's fight against COVID-19, members of the Presidential Task Force were confident that the initial 2-week restriction order in Abuja, Lagos and Ogun states has slowed down the spread of coronavirus in the country, even though it is not yet Uhuru.
The war is still raging, and all hands shall remain on deck until victory is assured.
Those that have immunosuppression, such as cancers, and those with chronic respiratory disease. It is important that this group keep away from persons who may have coronavirus.
To guard against community transmission of COVID-19, the Minister of Health emphasized increased use of the face masks by Nigerians.
It includes also the improvised homemade face mask or anything that covers your face, even a handkerchief or a scarf. If you're talking to someone and at least majority of it will be arrested on a mask. That's why we say that it must be washed every evening, preferably in warm water, and then dried and then ironed. If you do that, you are safe to reuse it the next day.
To facilitate the distribution of palliatives to cushion the effect of restrictions on Nigerians, the task force says the National Social Register is being expanded with focus on the urban poor and persons living with disabilities.
We have 4 pilot states that are on digital payment. We're using mobile phones, mobile wallets, the BVNs of these beneficiaries where it exists, because you know that it's not all of these beneficiaries that are on the banking system. So we look at all these issues and we're working on it.
The Presidential Task Force assured Nigerians that government will not fail to fulfill its responsibility of ensuring their safety and security at all times. In Abuja, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
We pause now for some messages. The news continues after this time out. Stay tuned.
For now, the best and most efficient way to avoid getting infected is through regular hygienic and sanitary practices, as well as social distancing. As individuals, we remain the greatest weapon to fight this pandemic. By washing our hands regularly with clean water and soap, disinfecting frequently used surfaces and areas, coughing into a tissue or elbow, and strictly adhering to infection prevention control measures in health facilities, we can contain this virus.
Stay Home data plan. All existing Glow customers now enjoy up to 20% more data. Glow Unlimited.
Happiness can be found in the little things, even in just one smile. Stay positive, stay home, and stay nourished.
Mortina, share happiness.
Give me 100 naira rice and then add 888 join up.
Yes.
Which time I go be this now? Not be the same 100 when everybody pays his money. They no use code. Which code? Oh boy, no get it from market to get better. 888 now be the code yo.
Yes, so anytime you recharge with star 888 star pin hash, MTN will summer you with 5 times your recharge. Make you take turn up better a wolf.
As the world combats the novel coronavirus, also known as COVID-19, the Nigerian government is committing funds and donations are coming from the private sector to tackle the virus. The emergency response to COVID-19 should not be abused as an opportunity for corruption. Do not embezzle the funds. Do not extort money from patients. Observe due procurement processes. And all citizens must guard against the peddling of false information. Do the right thing. Integrity pays. This message is brought to you by ICPC and NTA.
In Nigeria, there is one sound we need to silence. So let's silence toothache before it starts with Oral-B All-Round Protection. Its advanced technology helps prevent both tooth holes and gum problems that can lead to tooth loss. It strengthens your teeth, giving them all-round protection. Because the only sound we really want to hear is that of our future. For healthier, stronger teeth in 1 week.
The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, has constituted a NISI Situation Room in order to monitor and ensure the provision of adequate electricity power supply across the country. In support of the functions of the Situation Room, the general public is hereby advised to use the following channels of communication to directly contact the Commission on customer care issues, with emphasis on prolonged outages of power. Text and WhatsApp messages only can be sent to 0909 0022 887 or 0906 629 24667 and 0706 401 9522. Email complaints@nerc.gov.ng. Situation Room at nerc.gov.ng. Signed, Management.
Public service announcement. The general public, especially parents and caregivers, are hereby informed that all primary health care centers, PHCs, remain open throughout the country, including states with a lockdown order. The outbreak of the COVID-19 in the country should not affect the routine services provided by the PHCs. Governments at the national, state, and local levels have put in place measures for safe delivery of all primary health care services at PHC centers. I therefore urge parents and caregivers to continue, as usual, to take their children to the PHCs closest to them for immunization, growth monitoring, antenatal care, childbirth, and other PHC-related service delivery. All caregivers, health workers, and Nigerians are advised to obey all government guidelines on social distancing, frequent hand washing, self-isolation, etc. throughout the period of the COVID-19 outbreak. Dr. Faisal Shoaib, Executive Director, CEO, National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, announcer.
Welcome back. More support is coming the way of the federal government to fight the coronavirus pandemic. The latest is the palliative items from the Friesland Campina Wamco Nigeria Limited, received by the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development. Ruth Aguele has the report.
Kabiru has been a driver for more than 15 years, but this trip to Abuja, which took him and his colleagues 2 days to accomplish, is one that enthusiasms him due to the importance of the goods he is carrying for the lives of vulnerable people at this trying time.
For me to accept to drive all those on the way from Lagos come down to Abuja, I'm happy for that.
They're conveying the relief items donated to the federal government by Friesland Campina Wamco Nigeria Limited, and the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development is on hand to receive on behalf of the federal government. For the Minister, this act of kindness has come at the right time when the federal government is reaching out to citizens to reduce the effect posed by the coronavirus pandemic.
This will go a long way in ameliorating the sufferings of poor and vulnerable citizens, and we must appreciate them for this support. We assure them that these items will go to the targeted beneficiaries. People are encouraged to come forward and support what government is doing so that together we will fight this pandemic.
The essence behind this gesture, one, is to support Nigeria nutritionally, to help them improve their nutrition status in view of this COVID-19.
The food products values at 100 million naira is to be distributed to 100,000 vulnerable families across Nigeria to reduce hardships occasioned by restrictions brought about by COVID-19. In Abuja, Ruth Aguele, NTA News.
Ekiti State has extended its lockdown order by 2 weeks to curtail the spread of COVID-19. Let's join Kenneth Nanim for update on COVID-19 containment across the states.
From Uyo, the Akwa Ibom State capital, comes a report that the state government has commenced decontamination of public places across the state.
We are at the international airport. We went to the Ibom Specialist Hospital. We went to the Ifatai market, all the markets at Toron Road. And
so we are using chlorine, degree 65. That one is enough to kill all type of bacteria and virus.
Also from Daura, Katsina State, report says decontamination of public places is on top gear, one of the measures by the state government to curb spread of the virus. In Imo State, distribution of food items have commenced as part of palliative measures to ease the difficulties of the stay-at-home directive, as Governor Hope Uzodinma expresses satisfaction with the level of compliance to the total lockdown in the state.
The most important task is that this thing must get to the target. It must get to the people who have been ordered to stay at home, who most of them depends on daily income to feed.
Report from Gusau, the Zamfara state capital, indicates that the newly established isolation center for COVID-19 patients will soon be ready for use in the event of any case of the dreaded disease in the state.
The progress we have seen today, we are most satisfied. The isolation center here, the construction is ongoing still.
As the coronavirus pandemic continues to take its toll on the world, Kano State has recorded its index case, and commuters in the Asian city are yet to come to terms with precautionary measures put in place to stem the spread of the disease, as reported by Fatima Sanusi Karaye.
We want to continue carrying more passengers at a time because we have to feed our family.
They are not carrying one passenger. Some are carrying two, some are carrying three, and which is not good.
I take one passenger at a time because that is the right thing now before things get better.
If coronavirus is real, let's have evidence. That is just my take.
In Minna, the Niger State capital, the metropole and Boso local government area remain deserted as residents comply with the total lockdown directive of the Niger State government as a measure to curtail spread of COVID-19.
There are some people that even if something is real, they will not understand or they want to see it really.
Say that the compliance in Minna today is 98%. More awareness should be created. I think it should be better done in native languages.
In all of these, citizens are advised to observe all precautionary measures put in place by the World Health Organization and the Federal Ministry of Health to stay safe from the virus. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
We have more news as we join Dotun Ogwemi in Lagos. Hello, Dotun. Over to you.
Thank you, Kudu. With the extension of the lockdown by President Muhammadu Buhari, most Lagos residents are now in tune with the stay-at-home directive. Joyken Abakuya reports.
Lagos, the city that never sleeps, has been asleep for 2 weeks now due to the people's fear of being infected by the ravaging COVID-19. Many have no choice but to comply with the lockdown directive as enforcement agents are on most routes. Major roads visited are near empty with a few cars plying the roads. Checkpoints are effectively manned with personnel maintaining law and order. For those out and about, Georgina says she had to tend to her flower garden.
We have been waiting for rain to fall. Since there is no rain, we said, let us come and see some of them that are most dying and pick them and give them water.
It's even 3 times in a week. I feel come around here and just add water and go back again.
David and Bello shared their experiences in the past 14 days.
The assessment of sit at home is working, and I love it. I want people to exercise patience to enable this thing work out.
I believe the government are trying to protect us, so we have to also protect ourselves.
The residents agree that compliance with government's directive is needful to preserve lives. In Lagos, Joyken Abakuya, NTA News.
Following the evolving dimensions to crime in Lagos due to the lockdown, the Lagos State Police Command says it has arrested over 100 suspects for various offences. Police spokesperson in the state, Bala Elkanah, while giving an update of the security situation, also disclosed that special police operation units have been deployed to strategic areas to contain the situation. Hitherto busy public offices, including the Lagos State Police Command Headquarters, Ikeja, are devoid of usual activities. But while its offices and cells are almost empty, police officers are not working from home. They are on the streets, ensuring that residents comply with the total lockdown. All seem to be going well. However, in the last 3 days, people have suffered increased apprehension with reported cases of crimes. Some footages have been circulated on social media showing citizens rising up in defense of their communities. In the course of this report, I came across Nathan Hawk at Ojuelegba, who shared his experience.
Even in other bridge Ojuelegba, some boys, you don't know what they were planning at night. Maybe some of them will use machete, they will just go somewhere, just before you know you've come in the morning. Even in my place, what they call Shifawu. Like 2 shops, they broke 2 shops.
For the police in Lagos, swift response and improved community relations will instill sanity in areas, especially around inner roads and streets.
If the lockdown now continue, those guys who live on crime are hungry, they are tired at home, they will make an attempt to come out. Then our special teams will face them, which is exactly what we have done last night, and we're able to bring the situation under control, and we will sustain it all through the lockdown.
Can you tell us some of those areas where you actually deployed some of these your special?
We have Abulegba area, we have Ayobo area, we have mostly under Aliwosho area, we have also Ogba area, and some few other areas like that. But the deployment is all over.
The police enjoins members of the public to remain calm and call its control center in event of any emergency for swift response. us now to give us an update of the security situation in the state is the Commissioner of Police in Lagos State, Akeem Odumosu. Now, CP, there have been reported cases of robbery attacks and assaults during the day and night. And even today we heard some reports as residents say that they are no longer sleeping, rather they are keeping watch in several communities. How true are these claims?
Well, the statement and the story is far from truth. So there's never been any single report of anybody being assaulted, anybody being robbed, any property being taken away forcefully, or any property being taken away forcefully, or any property being patrol in joint one with even my counterparts, joint armed forces. We went on capacity building, we went on compulsory one for the men. So there's never been that report. It's a matter of creating avoidable unnecessary apprehension by the communities.
Is the police to combat crime during this period, especially looking that the lockdown has been extended, or is the police rather overwhelmed with enforcement duties?
No, we are not overwhelmed, because what we have done now is that our normal security architecture has been on. So what we only did when the COVID-19 came up was that, so we mop up all the personnel in other sections, other departments of the police, since the directive from the General Police says that no visitors to this place. So all the personnel we have in the traffic department, the road has been closed. The personnel we have in the administrative departments of the headquarters, both at the divisional level, area command level, and state command headquarters too, and all other services now that we have. All the investigation units now, we map them out. So those are the ones with the PMF that we now use for this COVID-19. So the personnel that we have been using before for our normal patrol, so normal surveillance now, they are still on. So COVID-19 has not affected our architecture, security architecture in Lagos. And that's why we have not been having incidences of increase in crime in Lagos since the lockdown directive came up.
And what collaborative efforts are in place between the police and other security agencies at this period? Security agencies.
Our efforts and we are highly symbiotic. As I said earlier, so we went on convoy patrol on show of force today. So for almost 4 hours in all those allegedly troublesome areas. So with the commander of the Night Brigade, the commander of the Back Road Naval, and the commander of the Air Force, as well as director of SSS. So we all move around now, and we reassure members of the public that government is ready now. Government is to protect their lives and property. They should not take laws to their hand to protect their lives. They are just apprehensive that, so these boys now, what happened 3 days ago outside Lagos State, that they may want to come in, and have their superior fights. So there's never been any single report of anybody assaulted. We gathered them together at each point. We went as far as Ikotun, as far as Igondo, so as far as Abule Egba, so Okoba, so till Okeodo, so going to Dokpemu, so go to the same thing at Akowonjo. We went around the length and breadth of all these areas where they are, and we spoke to them, we addressed them, and by the time we are coming back that journey now, so everybody has imbibed it, they've gone back to their houses. Now, in order as a follow-up, we now have right now a convoy patrol of a joint one with the military and the police right on the ground. So we have built that confidence in them, we built that trust in them, and since we started that joint one yesterday, no single incident happened overnight. And we shall continue to sustain this to make sure that no attack.
All right, thank you so much, CP Akeem Odumosu, for all your good work and for joining us on the news.
Thank you, Lagos. In the wake of the recent activities of the hoodlums and street urchins in the border communities between Lagos and Ogun states, the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, has ordered the immediate deployment of additional intelligence and operational assets of the force to Lagos and Ogun states to strengthen security and boost public confidence in the affected areas. The intervention team is being coordinated by the Deputy Inspector General of Police, DIG Peter Babatunde Ogunyanwo, in charge of the Department of Research and Planning of the force and the coordinating DIG for the Southwest Geopolitical Zone. A statement by the Force Public Relations Officer Frank Mba announced that the IGP has also ordered commissioners of police across the country to immediately rearrange the security architecture in their various commands to effectively tackle all emergent crimes associated with the COVID-19 lockdown. They are also to intensify patrols around residential areas, markets, shopping malls, and all critical national infrastructures in their jurisdictions. A total of 191 suspects have been arrested in Lagos and Ogun states in connection with the incidents. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari extends his good wishes to the people of Chibok, Borno State, as they hold prayers and thanksgiving services to mark the 6th anniversary of the kidnapping of their daughters by Boko Haram terrorist group. President Buhari regrets that the current COVID-19 pandemic with restrictions on movement makes it impossible for any government delegation to be with them during the event. A statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, announced that President Buhari knows that the kidnap of the Chibok girls is not a forgotten issue. President Buhari observed that, and I quote, "We cannot go to sleep over this matter. We are optimistic that ongoing efforts will yield something positive," end of quote. President Buhari therefore assured that the efforts by the nation's armed forces on the general operations in the entire region continue in their hope that it will encounter these girls as they did thousands of other hostages, rescue and bring them back home. President Buhari also commends Yakubu Nkeki, Lawal Zanna, and Yana Galang, the executive officials of the Association of the Parents of Abducted Girls from Chibok, on their steadfast efforts and advocacy for the welfare of the parents, the freed women, and those still in captivity. We take another break now. Stay with us. Don't go away.
So, you now want to pick my call?
Then bomb me where? Mommy of life. Final, mommy.
Where my car?
Mommy, now smart things remain.
If my car not ready for tomorrow, me and you go put leg inside one trouser. One lie.
What's my phone? Yes, ma. Yes, ma. Yes, ma.
Not got this phone, no.
All right, yes, ma. Hey,
Majekini.
Mommy, no be you. Don't waste your credit. When I finish, I go call.
You call me. Me wear my middle name na credit. Where Glow they give me boku.
Glow and Mebo get 5 times your recharge to call all networks. Recharge with *555* #PIN#.
Just talk people. I beg, give me my phone, make I go, Joe.
Talon so talk yen.
Girls, since we can't change our pad so often, what will we do? We will change our pad with Moped. Skin-friendly Moped offers up to 100% leak protection. No leakage. Welcome Moped, the skin-friendly new pad. Your skin will love it.
Amaka, ani kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀? Sọ́ńtò ṣẹlẹ̀ fún mi.
I just want to be alone.
Free me, oh. I will not leave my house. They did what?
Lady, I don't know what to do. I don't know.
My way.
Mama, what's happening? What's happening?
Now you know, now so we did. Follow my law. Reach where we did today. So
Papa, this is my husband's house.
everybody they try. We dey catch feelings, we dey cry. Life is sweet if you try. If you do better thing, you go thrive, mama. Stay where you are.
desk, series, and much more. Download the Airtel TV app.
Mr. Announcer, you know tell them say this film is still there on top of fire. And you say me, we still the shoot,
So while we finish up this movie, you can download the Airtel TV app and watch movies like this and many more. No subscription or free access.
Joe, give me pattern. What be showing me, Johnny?
Download the Airtel TV app from Apple and Android Play Store. Enjoy for 7 days data free. Airtel TV by Airtel, the smartphone network.
Awesome screen, awesome camera, long-lasting battery life. Awesome screen, awesome camera, long-lasting battery life.
Awesome screen, awesome camera, long-lasting battery life. Awesome screen, awesome camera, long-lasting battery life. Awesome screen, awesome camera, awesome screen, awesome camera,
Long-lasting battery.
Long-lasting battery life.
Breakfast your day, every day.
Nestle, good food, good life.
Your perfect family may be under threat by germs. Germs can cause infectious diseases like diarrhea, typhoid, and flu. These infectious diseases are amongst the biggest killers of adults and children. In Nigeria, tens of thousands of children under the age of 5 have died due to diarrhea caused by germs. These illness-causing germs are everywhere. Dirty surfaces, on cuts and wounds, on your clothes, in unclean bathing water. To protect your family from germs, use the power of Dettol's 1 capful. For surface cleaning, for first aid, for your laundry, in your bathing water, and to protect your family from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Introducing Dettol with aloe vera. Soothing aloe vera, the power of Dettol, which is soft on skin and hard on germs. Be Dettol Sure.
Action.
Make your home the place to be with GoTV's super cool kids channels.
That sounds fun.
From funky friends that'll keep even the little ones busy.
All right, everybody, let's do this!
To learn as you watch educational shows for curious young minds.
You can do some amazing things.
There's plenty for everyone. Tune in to our kids shows and get everything you need to keep the kids entertained and learning the fun way. GoTV. Live it, love it.
Thank you for remaining with the NTA. In an unprecedented move to stabilize the global oil market, the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, and its allies, OPEC Plus, as well as other producers, including the United States, have agreed on a supply adjustment of more than 19 million barrels per day. The OPEC and OPEC Plus share of the cut is 9.7 million barrels per day. Lydia Samson is here with details.
The agreement, which takes effect on May 1st, will be for a period of 2 years. In the words of OPEC Secretary General Mohammed Sanusi Barkindo, it was a historic conference in many respects. Extraordinary times caused by the COVID-19, unprecedented slump in the global economy and demand for oil. He commended the prompt, decisive response by the Declaration of Cooperation Partners of about 19 million barrels per day global supply adjustments with the longest duration of 2 years, the triumph of international cooperation. U.S. President Donald Trump also applauds the move by all. On his Twitter handle, he said, and I quote, "The big oil deal with OPEC Plus is done. This will save hundreds of thousands of energy jobs in the United States. I would like to thank and congratulate President Putin of Russia and King Salman of Saudi Arabia. I just spoke with them from the Oval Office. Great deal for all." OPEC and OPEC Plus share of the adjustment is 9.7 million barrels per day, while the other producers make up the total. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
When I join Jenny for more news from Port Harcourt.
Thank you, Kudu. Good evening and welcome. Community leaders in Ogba Mbema Ndoni local government area of Rivers State have received various food items from the State Government Palliative Committee for onward distribution to the less privileged. This is part of measures put in place by the government to cushion the effect of the lockdown arising from the coronavirus pandemic. Kingsley Amajiri reports.
At a time that many families are going through economic hardship following the lockdown,
the Rivers State government is delivering food items to various communities in the state. Each of the wards in the local government area is represented by a chief, youth leader, woman leader, and a councillor. They are to ensure that these food items get to the widows, the downtrodden, and the less privileged.
We assure the government that we are going to distribute it according to instruction.
We are happy that we know that the one we've given to them is still there, so they now have more to add.
Chairman of the State Palliative Committee, Ambassador Desmond Akawo, disclosed that Governor Nyesom Wike has also released additional funds to sustain the program while the lockdown lasts.
It's palliative. It may not be enough, but I believe that what we are doing now is the first step. You are aware the governor of the state, Nyesom Wike, he has actually made available 2 billion naira for another committee to start purchasing items. They have started. I'm sure by the time we get into that phase, we will be repeating again most of these words.
So far, 2 local government areas of Obiakpo and Port Harcourt have received similar palliatives from the state government. From Omok in Oba Ebamandoni local government area, Kingsley Amajiri, NTA News.
Network News continues with Kudu after the break.
For now, the best and most efficient way to avoid getting infected is through regular hygienic and sanitary practices as well as social distancing. As individuals, we remain the greatest weapon to fight this pandemic. By washing our hands regularly with clean water and soap, disinfecting frequently used surfaces and areas, coughing into a tissue or elbow, and strictly adhering to infection prevention control measures in health facilities, we can contain this virus.
Coronavirus is real. Steps to avoid this pandemic. Wash your hands regularly or sanitize your hands. Keep social and physical distancing. Avoid crowded places. Stay at home unless absolutely necessary. Don't touch your eyes, nose, or mouth if your hands are not clean. Avoid the spread of coronavirus. Coronavirus is real.
Elumide Oguntala has the sports update, please.
In line with the federal government's lockdown directive as a means to stop the spread of coronavirus, athletes, coaches, and administrators across different sports have resorted into self-training of colleagues in their